Okay, guys, we're back at the Kiiroo podcast about sex, tech, and sensuality and all that good stuff.
Hey, good
And
morning.
and we're here with our new hosts.
Well, new, old, I don't know.
Oh yeah, okay. You
Just
take your pick.
revived, yeah. I think my hair's changed a little bit from last week. No
Yeah,
more
yeah,
dreadlocks.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
right. And why is Urban is sick, so he's not here today. I
Yeah,
guess.
Herbs in your system is sick today, so you have Game Master Ash back in the building.
That's also very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
It's been a while, huh?
Yeah,
good,
right,
good
right.
months, yeah.
It's been a long while since we pole danced. That was the last
I
time.
know,
I think.
yeah.
Still a lot
I have to
of
see
lot of
that
pain.
episode still, yeah.
Yeah, my muscle memory is still acting up when I think about it.
Yeah, the one time you exercised this year.
Right, exactly. All right, but we're here with our guest Maurice, who creates all these wonderful toys and with all this wonderful technology. And you already said you have all these interesting questions. So let's begin.
I always have interesting questions for Maurice. Yeah.
Well, let's start with the first one that
Yeah?
comes off the top of your
Well,
head.
I don't know. Don't you think we should give you a little bit of an introduction first?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah,
Okay. You
So
go for
my
it.
name is Maurice of Beek.
Yeah.
I'm a CTO of Kiiroo. I'm already there since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So we really started up in a really small little office
Yeah.
together with four other people.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little school building, and we had this great idea just to get sex toys
Right.
connected. So we really started on a really small budget. We needed to create our first toys, and
Right.
we didn't know where to go and how to do it. And we started making the toys with 3D printers to make our first prototypes,
Right.
and make it work. And of course, it was sensing of the movement, movement of the device, controlling it remotely.
Right.
So then at that point, we were really just focusing on like long distance couples.
All right. That was from the beginning. You already focused on the fact that you could over long distance could use these things.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that was always the first goal that
Okay.
we wanted to do. So what we wanted to do is bring touch to the internet
Mm-hmm.
and see how we could bring couples that are living apart together, or
Right.
have them. How do we solve the issue that when people are living apart, that they can still be intimate?
Right.
That was our first goal, and that's why we started making these toys. And in order to make that work, we needed to have sensing capability. We needed to measure how deep and how fast the movements needed to go.
Right.
That signal needs to be transferred in real time.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side, that another device or a male device needed to
Recognize it.
recognize it
Right.
and make that movement that the girl's making.
Right.
And the other way around. So
Yeah.
there was like, how do you control the girl's vibrations? And that was also very rudimentary, of course. How we
Right.
can do it. And so we need to make first a prototype, proof that the concept could work.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, actually, we got everything went faster and faster, and things happened, and people contacted us, and everything led up to this Indiegogo campaign that we had in January 2014.
Okay.
And in January 2014, we had the Indiegogo campaign, and we released our initial product to the market.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, actually, everything went very fast.
Wow.
We got reached out by all the media saying, like, is this going to be the future of sex? What's going to be happening? And the adult industry was very interested in the technology that we had. And they were saying, like, if you can do it live, can you do it recorded? Can we do it with virtual reality? Can we do it with dating and people that you don't know? Can one person control more people at the same time?
Right.
You know, can you connect it to gaming? And
Yeah.
as a result, we started more and more developing other technologies, and that's why we were focused first on couples, long distance couples. We started to branch out to more and more technologies: webcam, gaming, VR, just regular videos, and then we needed to develop more and more technologies, which is, for example, how do you make a video that's already existing interactive? How do you, and then we started to develop those technologies. So we leaped in from one technology to another, and new products
to perfect all these stuff. Because you already said it started out pretty rudimentary.
Yeah.
And how do you feel? Yeah, you probably think about it every day. How you can perfect it even more? Yeah. But how far do you think you are in this process? Like what you said, when you think about the last thing you said about a video that already exists and then make it interactive, and then you have to, like, the person touches you at all the spots. That's a thing that I think would be super interesting, of course. But how can you make it possible that, like, when a person in a video touches you somewhere, that exactly that spot is also is that already perfected, or
the right person?
It's not. We don't have it yet, but we are working on that. Those videos are not existing yet.
No.
So, and then once they are not existing yet, we can add technology where you say, for example, when you're recording a video, you could also have 3D sensors around, or with sensors on the body of the actors.
Right.
So you can record those at the same time as you're recording the video.
All right.
So when you're recording the video, you would also have a 3D representation of that scene, knowing where people are being touched. And then, of course, with machine learning, we can recognize where the body parts are, and then you know where they're being touched. But that's a little bit further out than we are now.
Right.
But at the moment, we have existing videos which are now manually encoded.
Right.
There's a team that we have that is encoding the videos frame by frame. And what we do is we use machine learning to step by step automate the process of the machine learning. Of the encoding.
Okay, yeah.
So once we have that, then what will happen is that the people that are now manually encoding the videos become more and more controllers, quality controls. They will check if what the machine did is good, and the machine will learn from whatever is being corrected. Like how a little child learns about new things, the machine will also learn about what did it do wrong, how can it do better. So the next time when it goes over the same images, it should be better. So it's like it's going to be a circle where it's going to be improving the machine.
Wow. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Well, Ash, do you have a good question?
Well, I do, but I want to go all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah, let's
because you don't know Maurice, but Maurice didn't come from the technology industry.
Oh, yes, right.
And
what happened before?
Yeah, no. We don't need to go all the way back to what happened before, but the whole idea for Kiiroo came about through the movie Demolition Man.
Okay.
And there's a point in the movie where Sandra Bullock and Sylvester Stallone have virtual sex using. So that's essentially where the idea came from. But my question is, how long did it take you from the day that you guys were those 5 people that came into a room together and decided, let's have sex from a distance? How long did it take from that point to actually get a working prototype? Something that you could be like, oh my God, look, I can send signals across.
Right.
Because I know it was around 2013 sometime that you started, but I mean, this kind of stuff takes years and years and years.
Not that long. If it was 2013.
2014,
So in January 2014, we had the Indigo campaign.
Yep.
So we had a working prototype, working product. It wasn't ready for mass production at that moment. But we started in April 2013 was the company's founding. I joined in August.
Was it a full-time thing for all of you, or it was just a part-time?
Full-time. Full-time. So we were full-time working on creating a working prototype. We had a working prototype in January 2014, and then it took us another year going from a working prototype to going to mass production.
To release,
even longer, I think, because it was in March 2015, so a little bit longer than a year that it took us before we had the mass production. So what we didn't realize is that even if you have a working prototype, a prototype cost us like $2,500. One prototype costs $2,500 to make. So
and that's 3D printing.
That's 3D printing, and then going from 3D printing to to something that you need to mass produce, going to like a much lower cost base, right? Somewhere between $30 to $60 as a cost price,
right?
And of course, there's other things, that shipping and all this other cost that comes with, but just the product itself. That's a really huge leap that we needed to take, because having something working and having it 3D printed and at that cost base, then go to mass production, then we needed to make a lot of changes internally. Actually, we needed to redesign the product again, to make it in such a way that it is affordable to produce. So if something works, doesn't mean that you can also mass produce it.
Right.
So there was a lot of things about the motors and the electronics and the firmware that needs to be to be written and changed. There's a lot of like government regulations that you need to comply. Bluetooth organization, all kinds of companies that are government institutions that say you need to have safety. Plastics need to be good, so everything needs to be checked. So before you can actually launch a product for mass production, there's a lot of things that you need to tick before you actually can do that.
Get there,
In January 2014, we had no idea about what we needed to do to make it work. Of course, that's natural, because none of us ever made a product before.
Like and that nobody else did this. Like it was there was like you were like really the first ones, and that's probably the reason why you guys were able to grow so fast and become so successful in the last couple of years. Are these the ones who were a couple of the first, or
these were the first ones?
Oh, right.
Yeah. So these two were really was the first devices. So this was just to show that it works.
These weren't in production.
No. They've never been in.
I was going to say the shape is a little bit.
Like I said, these two were really about showing that it works. For the Indiegogo campaign, this was not actually one. There's one more after this, because it looked like a cookie can a little bit. So we so we had these, something like similar to this, and this one in the Indiegogo campaign, to show like that we can do it and that we can make devices, and then.
After that came the perfected design, of course.
Yes.
So that's the OPU and the SVR.
Yes.
So did you have someone dedicated to researching what the market wants at the time, or did you guys just have this idea and you ran with it?
You have to really think about that. We were working on a really tight budget.
All right.
So it was just showing that we can do it.
Right.
It was really technology driven. It was more about showing that we can do it, show the product, and then. Like I said, it took it took 2.5 years from the moment that you say, "Hey, this is the idea," to actually delivering the product. So in those 2.5 years, you have no income. So you need to, so
just investing,
and you need to find the investors. Some interesting partnerships also because of the logistics. How do you, when you sell a product globally, how are you going to be?
Right.
It's not only the product, but once you've created the product, how are you going to sell it?
Right.
How are you going to deliver it? Those kinds of things. And we had a great partner with Flashlight.
Right.
So the Flashlight is a well-known masturbator in the US.
You know Flashlight, don't you?
Yeah, I've learned a lot from the conference we went to, and I saw a lot of different. One with a predator mouth, and they have all sorts of different stuff. But that's really interesting because once you had the product that was sellable, how did you sell it? But Flashlight was one of these partners who helped along.
Helped us for the logistics, so that we had worldwide shipping. That really helped us, of course. The brand name, the Flashlight, was of course very beneficial to us. It brings us into a different league. There's also the association with Flashlight really helped us. And then of course we had to set up and build a marketing team to how do you sell the product, how you brand it. So the problem, and also the marketing is a little bit like, how do you find out what people want?
Right, that's the hard part.
Is something that is so intimate.
Yeah.
So you know, so you can say let's do a marketing research, but how do you do a marketing research with sex toys, right?
Right,
So people are not going to say
not real comfortable talking about it.
A lot of people not. So you have to find somebody that is comfortable talking about it.
Yeah.
So those are difficult things.
It's a challenge. Yeah.
Yes. So what we need to do is more look at what the feedback is from people about the toys, what they're saying about, what the industry is saying about, and then of course adapt. One of the things that we heard from our first device was that it was noisy.
Okay.
So what we did is in the Onyx 2, we improved the sound, and we're constantly minimizing, see what we can do to minimize the sound of the device.
Right.
Because of course it's in an intimate, silent. You don't want to hear.
Yeah.
The neighbors don't.
Oh, they're using something.
Unless when you finish. Then,
Yeah.
So there's a constant development which is going always on. See what we can do to improve the product, and of course we learn more and more along the way.
Right.
To see what we can do to increase and improve the sensitivity, increase the way it operates. We have launched a new product together with Flashlight. Right? That's already was then. It was in 2017.
Which product was that?
The launch.
the flashlight launch.
Right. Yeah.
Which is the product where the flashlight actually inserts into the launch, and that the flashlight is being moved up and down.
Okay.
Which is
Automates the.
yes, it automates. This is a thing. So
Right. You put the flashlight in there.
yeah. So you put the flashlight in here. So there are different kinds of shapes and molds and things and shapes of pussies from, from porn stars.
And mouths and butts.
I love the predator mouth.
Yeah. So and those existing ones, which have been selling since the 80s. This shape hasn't really changed. It's more about the marketing, about the vaginas,
in there,
girls. So and what we did is we created a device that actually made the entire move interactively. So this device can be controlled by virtual reality, can be controlled by games, can be controlled by your partner remotely. So there's all kinds of interactivity going on with this device. So a regular flashlight actually turns into a interactive device. And one of the things is very spectacular, I thought, when we connected to virtual reality, it is a real mind-blowing experience. And now, of course, we already thought that it's going to be very interesting to make this connection, because with virtual reality, you must imagine that they've shot this video in a POV style, point of view style, where you're looking down on not your own body, but somebody else's body.
Right.
And the porn star comes in and she starts doing the movements.
Right.
And then, so in the virtual reality world, you look around, you already have the illusion of the feeling that you're there.
Actually there, yeah.
You hear it,
you're immersed,
you see it.
Yeah.
And then the very interesting part is that once this girl starts moving, that you are really, that you feel what she's doing.
Right.
And then that connection, because your brain is relatively easily to fool, that it will say, oh my God, this is real.
Right.
And of course you can think, no, it's not real. But if you let yourself go, oh my God, it's amazing.
Right.
It is a really amazing experience, because it shows you how easy, how the brain can be convinced that a situation is real.
Yeah.
So we're really going to be pushing forward in that thing, that will be convincing more and more that it is a real, that you are in a real situation. Yeah. By adding more touch or more sensitivity with a suit or those kinds of things.
Sounds super interesting.
With the launch, it actually moves up and down at different lengths,
that.
And
it makes this movement, like the movement,
goes up and down. So imagine if there's a woman or a man sitting on top of you, and she just goes a little bit up. The launch is going to go a little bit, but the moment she starts going higher and higher, the launch is going to do the exact same.
Of course, and this is of course then because there aren't movies made yet with all these suits. Is afterwards is programmed in, like these movements are made, so somebody's actually putting in the moments where the movements are made
exactly,
and it works exactly like that. That's already pretty amazing that it works. I've seen one at the conference, and I was, even without touch, it's a very weird experience, because like you said, your mind is the only fact that that makes you feel that it's not real is that you know it's not real. But once I was there and everybody was quiet, and I was like, whoa, I was kind of embarrassed as well because it was like so real. I'm in this room with all these people, but now this is happening. I kind of felt embarrassed at first that I was turned on about the movie with everybody in the room. So, but that also proves the fact that how easy you can convince your body that it's real. So, yeah, I'm actually very interested in the developments. We were talking about earlier with when it's
haptic
even
suits
with the haptic suits, that would be then people don't have to go outside anymore.
Well, I think you'd still want to come out eventually.
That's what a lot of people said there, but it is of course for different kinds of people. It's good that for the people who have issues making contact, that they have the choice to do whatever, or even.
Well, we've been approached by a lot of physically challenged people have contacted us, and they were saying that this is really something interesting for them,
right?
Because they can't either move their arms or and there always has to be somebody doing something they can't do in private,
right?
So
now
this device really helps it together with the virtual reality headset, and they can experience. So it's a lot of unexpected.
Things you can use it for,
We didn't plan to make it in the beginning, but people are coming up with their own uses.
If you put 2 years of your time into making a product with no income, then you must know that it's going to be booming.
Still amazing.
And look at that.
It's still amazing to me how fast it all went. Like I only came here like 2 months ago, and my only impression was like how I saw it, like the work floor you have upstairs with a bunch of people, and now finding out that it's only started out in 2013 or something is like it's pretty fast. So it actually went pretty. I'm not denying that it's probably been a lot of hard work and struggles along the way, but it's still amazing how fast it went, and I think in that it's limitless where it can go once we have the full suits and even more advanced stuff. So
with the games, of course, it's going to be. I mean, with VR games, there's like very realistic games where you can choose your own AR, where you augmented reality, where a porn star would walk into your room, you look around, you are in your room, and she would come on top of you, and so it's all about creating this illusion that it's real. So it's like, which means that also in your case, when you're watching the VR, it would be best that you were lying down in the way that the actor will be. So it's all about like, how do you know that it's not real, but how can we convince the brain that it's as real as it can be? And I think that those things, that's on the content side, but also on the device side, we'll see what we can do to make it even more pleasurable than it already is. We'll all have all kinds of products in development that we're going to be looking at. See how we can make it.
I wonder. I more than once I hear Rashid talking about. I can't say anything about it, but something is coming that's going to blow your mind. So, but I guess you,
Maurice.
but I guess you can't tell us anything more, can you? But what is the latest and most the newest thing you're the most proud of that you already have released? Maybe you have an example of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm most proud on the launch.
All right.
That's of course all the products but I think this is was the most complex.
Right. Okay.
Product.
And so much testing went into it.
Right.
So it's it's a very relatively heavy. The flashlight is very heavy, so you need a motor that is strong enough. So there's a lot of technical complications that you need to overcome. So
when I first started working at Kiiroo about 2.5 years ago, we were doing all the product testing for the launch, and we used to work in an office apartment. So there was a kitchen, and the marketing team was actually based in the kitchen. And my first day of work, on the kitchen table, like on the corner of the table, there's this machine, like boom, 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 with a dildo and a fleshlight. And they were doing the motor testing for the launch for the first 2 months that I was working.
It was pretty intense.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. We couldn't eat at the kitchen table. We had to eat. Yeah.
Yeah, but I imagine there was next to that, there was also, of course, good to test the motor. But of course, you had to. A lot of people were testing it too. Maybe your boyfriend got to test.
Oh, that was later on. But this is before they even designed the outside of it. They had to do the motor.
Right.
But
in the very beginning.
It was more about like how does it work?
Yeah.
We had
does
to keep
the motor last?
Right.
So it's like before you actually start designing the product around it, you need to make sure that the mechanics is working.
Yeah, of course.
Every half an hour, someone had to get up to lube the dildo.
Yeah, so before you let actual people test it, you've gone through a whole process of all other things. But I'm still interested when you guys think, okay, it's probably now ready for testing. How does that work? How do you just let all the people on the work floor test it, or do you
take this home?
Yeah, of course, Rashid, he loves it. but I wonder, do you let people other people come and
we have people testing it. So
we had a focus group for the launch actually.
Yeah, but those are just people.
Yeah, just
let new people come in. They're not the people who or is it the same group, or is that?
Well, I would be the very first to test it.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, of course.
But just to see if it's any before it. I can remember the first time I tested it. I was thinking, "Oh my god, this is so good."
Yeah, all right.
So
it instantly was good.
Really nice. Because the thing is, like the flashlight itself is already good. So it's a product that already exists since the 80s, and they perfected it, and it's a really realistic experience.
Right.
And then if you add a really good product already to an interactive product, it doesn't get worse from it, right? So the number of you can really fast,
mind blowing.
Your favorite word, huh?
Yeah, it's my favorite word.
But when it comes to product testing, it's not just the product that we need tested, because there's a lot of other things that we put in the box. We need to make sure that they understand our manuals, that everything we're explaining is correct. So that process alone takes so long, because with a normal sex toy, you don't need to explain how the Bluetooth function works. But with our products,
it's of course it's good. I would if I would design something. Of course, I think it's always the right move to test it yourself first, to give confidence to the other people who are going to test it. But I'm still amazed. But of course, that's just because you make such good products. But I can imagine that sometimes if you would test something, your personal experience will be different from let's say 50 other people. But I guess your experience is that most people just like it, or have you ever had that people were like, oh no, it's too much for me, or I can't handle it, or?
Well, the thing is, like, we released the product after we did the testing, and we saw a lot of reviews coming back, and the reviews on the launch were all very, very positive.
Yeah.
So the only thing what they're talking about is that it's big, right?
The
device is really big, but that comes actually from the size of the flashlight that we had to start around, right? So we needed to start working around this.
Right.
And then this is already big and heavy, which means then you need to go around this to move it, and then there's not much space to make it. Unless the flashlight gets smaller, then we have more room to make the device smaller.
Pocket size.
Yeah, but I think you guys didn't you guys make your own kind of thing like this, only smaller?
The Titan.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we have three kinds of the devices. So in general, there's like, you can either stroke it, you can squeeze it, or you can vibrate it.
Right.
Which is actually the three
things the Titan does.
Well, maybe there's rotating. So there's also something you can rotate.
Wow.
But the rotation usually goes with movement. So I think if there would be a product that does rotate, it also needs to do something else, because just rotating is not enough.
No, right.
So effectively, we had created three different products. It's like vibration, stroking, and squeezing, or the illusion of squeezing. And that's the Onyx, and the Titan is our vibration. Right. So you have a range of depending on what you like. You can say, like, I like the squeezing better, I like the vibration better, or I like the stroking better.
Yeah.
So because nobody is the
same. Right.
So it's like interesting things we're looking at.
I'm so ready for this future.
Have you ever seen the penis in a can or the Clone Willy?
I like the fact that I'm learning. I'm learning, and I want to learn. That's why I'm here. But I on purpose I didn't dive into all of this info too much, because I just wanna see what happens and see what things I do like and I don't like. And it's still it's very interesting to me. But I'm still I'm every day I'm becoming less embarrassed also, because it's still, if it isn't me, it's the people around you, and that's why I think this podcast is really a good thing. It's like you have people like me who are open to it, but and are not too embarrassed to talk about it. But you have a lot of people who are just don't want to talk about it at all. So I'm in between that, and between the people who say yes, okay, I'll use anything, and the embarrassed people. I'm in between.
I did hear that you like the alien flashlight from Flashlight.
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if that was because I wanted to use it, but just because I thought it was a good marketing.
Intriguing. Yeah.
I thought that was good.
Like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell button so you get an update every time we drop a new episode.